WTOL 11 News at 6. I'm Michael Sandlin. Thank you so much for joining us on your Sunday evening. We'll get to all of our top stories and more in just a moment, but first, how about this weather? How unseasonably warm, and looks like it could be soon breaking records. Meteorologist John Birchfield has more.
Yeah, Michael, another near record day tomorrow. The warmth continues, but there are going to be some big changes arriving midweek. Highs in the mid-80s once again, a mostly sunny and dry start to the work week. We were very close to the record today with an official temperature of 86 at Toledo Express Airport, and that put us just 2 degrees shy of the October 5th record that is shared between 1951 and 2007. Tomorrow's temperatures are going to be very similar, and our current temperatures are still balmy. We are even in the lakeshore in the lower 80s, mid-80s in the metro, including an 86-degree reading in Bowling Green, 85 in Henry County, 84 currently in Defiance. So the hour-by-hour forecast, a snapshot of your Monday afternoon. It is going to be a warm one for those after-school practices. Now, there are going to be some big changes in the weather coming our way as a cold front sweeps through Tuesday. Do you need some rain? We are finally going to get it on Tuesday. After a dry start to the week, I do want to give you a heads up to the hour-by-hour timeline. Monday night and into Tuesday morning, there is going to be some rain, and this is what you're going to wake up to starting off the day Tuesday. A damp and muggier setting for the bus stop and the morning commute. I'm going to let you know how much rain will occur, and also this cold front is going to bring us a big drop in temperatures, previewing the potential for some patchy frost coming up in that full 10-day forecast. Michael?
All right, John, we'll see you then. As the government shutdown enters a second week, President Trump says any firings of government employees will be because of Democrats. This comes as a CBS News poll finds Americans are frustrated with the shutdown and worry about its impact on the economy. CBS News has more.
As the government shutdown enters its second week, President Trump remains adamant that Democrats are responsible for the shutdown and for the potential layoffs of government employees. The White House says firings will happen if the government is not reopened soon.
We're ready to go back. You know, we have a record-setting economy. We have a record-setting country. Prices are way down. We're doing better than the country's ever done. And the Democrats hate seeing that. It's up to them. Anybody laid off, that's because of the Democrats.
A new CBS News poll finds many Americans are frustrated with the shutdown, disapproving of the White House, Republicans in Congress, and Democrats in Congress nearly equally. The poll also finds that those surveyed are worried about the impact the shutdown could have on the economy, with 49% saying they're very concerned and 31% saying they are somewhat concerned. On Sunday's Face the Nation, congressional leaders from both sides of the aisle blame the opposing party for the shutdown, with Democratic leaders saying they're fighting for Americans' health care and Republicans saying the Democrats are being unreasonable.
We have a health care crisis in America caused by the Republicans. They've barreled us towards a shutdown because they don't want to deal with that crisis.
There's probably 400 different ideas on how to fix that, but we need a little time to do it. We're not saying that we won't negotiate it. We're saying turn the lights back on in Congress.
The next congressional vote on the shutdown is expected to take place on Monday. Chanel Call, CBS News.
President Donald Trump has authorized the use of the National Guard to, quote, straighten out Chicago. Chicago is the latest city to have an increased federal law enforcement presence for Trump's immigration and crime crackdown. Today, Trump said he believes politicians in Chicago are being targeted.
I believe the politicians are under threat because there's no way somebody can say that things are wonderful in Chicago. Almost 55, I think it was 55 people over a short period of time have been murdered in Chicago, have been shot. Frankly,
Governor Pritzker accused Trump's administration of firing tear gas and smoke grenades to make it look like a war zone and to incite people on the ground to react. Portland, Oregon is the other city giving pushback to Trump's attempts to deploy the National Guard. On Saturday, a federal judge blocked Trump's plans to deploy federal troops to the city. Toledo Fire and Rescue battled a blaze at a two-story commercial building this morning in North Toledo. This is at the corner of Columbus and Erie Streets. Officials on scene told us the call came in just after 6 this morning. They believe the fire started near the first floor door, then spread to the rest of the building. No one was inside at the time and no injuries have been reported. The fire is still under investigation. We'll keep you updated on air and online as we learn more. 2 people were taken to the hospital after a crash in Swanton Township. It happened just after 10:30 last night on State Route 64 near milepost 7. According to the Highway Patrol, a 67-year-old man was driving east on State Route 64 when he hit a 38-year-old man walking in the eastbound lane. The driver was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The 38-year-old was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The crash is still under investigation. The Toledo Buddy Walk has returned to the Glass City for the 24th year, the largest Down syndrome awareness event in Northwest Ohio. According to Krista Jensen, the executive director for the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Toledo, the event is all about celebrating the uniqueness and achievements of individuals with Down syndrome. Every year, she says about 1,400 people participate, including over 100 families. Resources for support and connection, especially for those who have recently received a diagnosis, are available at the event. Jensen says the event not only helps to raise money for continued services, but it's also to help families see diverse future possibilities for their children.
Coming out and seeing other kids with Down syndrome at all different ages, I think is so helpful to them to see a little glimpse of what their future looks like, and just building that community, right? You have shared struggles sometimes, shared experiences, and getting those families together is so important.
For more information, you can check out the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Toledo on their website. Some good news for families out in Seneca County. St. Francis Senior Ministries has received a major boost to help people in need. The organization was awarded a $20,000 grant from the Schlick Foundation. That money will go toward St. Francis's Benevolent Fund, which helps cover essential expenses for low-income residents, including rent, utilities, food, and medical needs. Leaders say the support comes at a critical time as more families struggle with the rising cost of living.
Without them, the benevolent care program would not exist. So very appreciative for everything that these two funders have done for St. Francis Home.
Coming up at 11, our reporter Dominique O'Neill will have a reaction from leaders of St. Francis Senior Ministries and their hopes for this grant and how to help others and support families in need. A groundbreaking ceremony for the St. Anthony's Church redevelopment project is scheduled for tomorrow. According to those with the Lucas County Land Bank, the $6 million project will transform this cathedral-scale landmark into a multi-purpose community recreation facility. Once the building reopens, it will be incorporated into the City of Toledo's Parks and Youth Services operations at the nearby Junction Park. Federal, state, and local leaders are expected to be there and speak at the ceremony tomorrow morning. Coming up, Toledo Spirits hosted its first ever Vistula Artist Market, spotlighting over 40 local makers. Organizers say it's just the beginning of a new tradition celebrating community creativity.
And it may feel like summer right now, but there's some big changes in the weather coming our way. Check out these temperatures. Thursday and Friday, there is the chance we see patchy frost. I'm going to let you know when that cool down arrives coming up next. Welcome back in. The summer-like feel continuing into the start of the week. One of the warmest first weekends of October on record, and we are close to records today. Going to be in that same mid-80s territory for your Monday. Mostly sunny and dry conditions, making for a toasty start to the work and school week. We're at 84 right now. Our high temperature topped out at 86 degrees. Crystal clear skies through that Elk and Elk downtown sky camera. 86 was our high temperature. The record for today, 88 degrees. We did get close to that. In fact, our observation in Putnam County is showing 88. It was 86 in Defiance, 86 in Fulton County. Even into southern Michigan, we got up to about 84. And sometimes the lakeshore is a bit cooler this time of year. That was not necessarily the case today, with mid-80s for those temperatures. Still hanging on to 83 in Port Clinton, 85 in Oak Harbor. Has turned a little cooler up in Monroe, Michigan. So the hour-by-hour forecast, starting off your Monday morning, mild and dry. We're going to be in the upper 50s to lower 60s. And the afternoon, certainly heating up. 86 degrees, another day of near record temperatures. There will be a late day increase in clouds ahead of our next cold front, but I do expect dry weather to prevail for your Monday. There is going to be a mild breeze, southwest winds ranging from 5 to 15 miles per hour. So let's look ahead towards our next change in the weather and that next big weather impact. That's going to come on Tuesday. I am tracking a strong autumn cold front. It's going to bring us some very much needed rainfall and around a half an inch of rain for most areas. So the latest data has trended a little bit up in the rainfall department. It is going to be turning sharply cooler though behind that front, and that means jacket and sweater weather arriving Wednesday. So let's break down the timeline hour by hour. Dry weather is expected Monday. That cold front's going to be moving in from the northwest with a dose of cold Canadian air. Monday night and into Tuesday morning, widespread showers are likely, and this is the mess that you're going to wake up to Tuesday morning. It is going to be soggy. The rain gear and the windshield wipers will be necessary. Into the afternoon, most of those showers pushing south and east of the region. However, a chilly fall feel sweeps in behind that front, and we could be talking the coldest air of the season arriving midweek. So let's hone in on the hour by hour, a little closer to home. Again, waking up Tuesday morning, widespread showers. Tuesday afternoon, most of the rain moves south and east of the Maumee River. This is the cold front itself, that little line of showers moving through during the afternoon time frame. So that umbrella forecast, a 70% rain chance Tuesday, especially early in the day, and no worries of any rainfall for the remainder of the week. So let's talk about how much rain to expect. Most areas likely to see around a half an inch, but there are some indications that locations south of Toledo, including Hancock and Putnam counties, could see a little bit more, as that severe and extreme drought really does need some of that moisture. Rainfall is going to be likely on Tuesday, and behind that front, a sharp cool down, highs in the 60s and lows in the low 40s. In fact, there could be the chance that we see our first patchy frost of the season Thursday and into Friday. You'll notice those overnight low temperatures plunging down to the lower 40s. In southern Michigan, it could even dip down to the upper 30s, and that is where the chance of frost is going to be the greatest, to the north of the state line. We do turn a little milder into next week with temperatures in the 70s. You know, hard to believe, Michael, that we're talking about summer-like warmth and frost in the same weather forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be a real interesting contrast. But as for today, oh my goodness, it was very, very strange. I went for a walk along the Maumee River today. I got to walk right into the middle of the river, just standing in the riverbed.
Yeah.
There was nothing around me.
It's remarkable how dry it's been lately. And, you know, the rainfall is going to be helpful, but at this point, really just going to make a dent in that rainfall deficit. But I'm sure it was also kind of weird to feel, 80s and see the leaves starting to change colors at the same time.
I had to keep reminding myself it was October. It felt like July with just a bunch of dead leaves.
Yeah, and Mother Nature's a little confused, too, because we could be talking frost Thursday and Friday mornings.
All right, well, I'm going to grab my jacket, but for now,
definitely needed.
All right, thanks, John. A new art fair has come to Vistula neighborhood in Toledo. The Vistula Artist Fair at Toledo Spirits hosted more than 40 different local makers today. This is the first event of its kind, but the CEO of Toledo Spirits says he plans on making it a new biannual tradition. He says it's important to highlight what the community has to offer.
Really love the idea of bringing more attention to the Vistula neighborhood. Bring people down, see what we're doing in Lowertown, see what we're doing in Vistula, from Osherstown to Toledo Pickle, Toll House, and all these destinations in between. Being able to really just embrace people visiting us and seeing what we're offering down here in the neighborhood.
Toledo Spirits has more events coming up this month, including a ghost hunting adventure through their distillery at the end of the month. Well, I hope they find them. An annual fundraiser's returned to the Metro Parks and is all about helping kids take their lives in the, quote, right direction. Partnered with Ernest Brew Works, Biketoberfest 2025 took place at Oak Openings in Swanton. As a 501c, The Right Direction focuses on providing free and low-cost youth development programming. And today, it was all about bringing the community together while raising funds. Featured were bike shop booths, auction items, food trucks, Ernest Brew Works beer, music, and much more.
You know, the best thing about this, one, it's a terrific venue at the Metro Parks, but two, it gives people exposure to all the programming that we do, and it allows people that have never been part of our program to see what's going on and, you know, allow their kids to come in and participate.
Our mission statement is we choose to brew great beer for our community's enjoyment. So from the very beginning, we want to be part of the community. And this group turns out now to be like the largest nonprofit I work with. I do several events with them a year, and this is by far the biggest one.
The owners say today is all about encouraging new families and kids to get involved and overall connect with people. Let's get things over to Chase with sports. Chase, there's nothing better than helping kids and drinking beer at the same time.
Absolutely. When we return, we recap the Browns' loss to the Vikings in London. Plus, new college football top 25 poll just dropped. Toledo and Bowling Green get ready for the next battle of I-75, and the Tigers get ready for Game 2 of the ALDS. Those stories and more coming up next in sports. Sports brought to you by Jim White Honda. Welcome back. It's another Sunday for the National Football League, but for the Browns and Vikings, they're going international, playing over in London. This was the debut for rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel, who was named the starter over Joe Flacco earlier this week. Since the Browns returned in 1999, their quarterbacks are 0-16 in their debut games. Gabriel tried to change that, and things looked good after a passing touchdown here to Harold Fannin Jr., the Bowling Green alum, catching his first NFL touchdown. The Browns led 17-14 late in the fourth quarter, but in that final minute, the Vikings' backup quarterback Carson Wentz led a drive down the field and scored with a go-ahead touchdown to win 21-17. The Browns dropped to 1-4 on the season as they fly back stateside. Meanwhile, in college football, Ohio State is still the top team in America after picking up win number 5 this week against Minnesota. The Buckeyes rolled to a 42-3 win in Columbus. Quarterback Julian Sayin had a great game, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Also important to note, Ohio State's biggest win this season was in Week 1 over number 1 Texas. But after the Longhorns lost to Florida this weekend, the Buckeyes do not have any wins over teams that are currently ranked. They will hope to change that this next weekend when they play number 17 Illinois in Champaign. That game kicks off at noon on Fox. Meanwhile, for Michigan, they're in the same boat. No wins so far over ranked opponents. They're coming off a 24-10 home win over a struggling Wisconsin team. Freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood was good. He went 19 of 27 passing for 270 yards and a touchdown pass. The Wolverines moved up 5 spots from 20 to 15 in today's AP poll. The teams have another challenge this next week when they travel to LA to face USC. The Trojans are 4-1 right now and receiving votes in the latest poll. Kickoff for that game, 7:30 Eastern on NBC. And a couple of teams you didn't hear about this weekend, Toledo and Bowling Green. Both had their off weeks this week, and both are getting ready for the latest edition of the Battle of I-75. The Rockets are 3-2, coming off a bounce-back win over Akron. Falcons are 2-3, coming off a road loss to Ohio. The odds for this game were published today, and Toledo is currently a 6.5-point favorite over Bowling Green. If you remember, the Falcons won last year's game in Toledo by a final of 41-26. And another one of the big stories of Saturday was Mason Heinchel. The true freshman from Clay got the start for Pittsburgh and was absolutely making the most of his chance. He was awesome against Boston College Saturday, completed 30 of 41 passes for a 73% completion rate, over 320 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. This time last year he was playing Fremont Ross, and now he's carving up ACC defenses. Looks like the start of a great college career for the kid from Clay. And in Major League Baseball news, the Tigers are back in action tonight for Game 2 of the American League Divisional Series. Detroit won Game 1 of the series in extra innings thanks to Zach McKinstry, the Toledo-born kid, hitting an RBI in the 11th inning to score Spencer Torkelson and win 3-2. This is a best-of-5 series, so if the Tigers win tonight, they would take a 2-0 lead in the series on their way back to Detroit for Games 3 and 4, which are Tuesday and Wednesday. First pitch for Game 2 tonight is set for 8 o'clock. And finally, one more thing on the NFL. The Lions taking on the Bengals today. We'll recap that game coming up tonight at 11. But until then, that's all for sports. We'll be right back.
Welcome back in. Make sure to check out the latest episode of Well Read, Well Said. It's WTOL 11's book club only on WTOL 11 Plus. The group discusses September's book Ward D by Frida McFadden. They also discussed how the Twilight series is 20 years old now. That's crazy. And of course, the age-old question, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? The answer's obvious, Team Edward. Come on, Robert Pattinson. You can check out the latest episode of Well Read, Well Said right now on WTOL 11 Plus. And make sure you tune in to the next episode on Tuesday. And speaking of books, today brings an occasion for all of you proud bookworms out there. It's National Bookshop Day. The celebration started across the pond in England back in 2013. It's a time to kick off the fall book selling season and the release of new books ahead of the holidays. It's also a good day for bookshop owners to host parties, book signings, and other events at their stores. Now, according to nationaltoday.com, upwards of 1,000 bookshops nationwide participate in Bookshop Day.
I feel like paper books are coming